And continuing in verse and the fifth part 5, basically dealing with back to basics, the ancient Israel, the image of ancient Israel. We have more to go in. Right, so let's continue dealing with now. The Greco-Roman figure represents Serapis Christos, which the world is worshiping as Jesus Christ today. And we have already proved this in the other parts of the videos, but let's continue because we have more to do. It says, does this Greco-Roman figure represent Serapis Christos, which is a Greek mixed with an Egyptian deity, which the same Ptolemy then used his son to then do what? Make him, that image, as a god, as the son. We know that, but we go into this part because it says who Serapis was. Serapis is a Greco-Egyptian god, like I said, created around the 3rd century BCE under Ptolemy. It says Ptolemy Ptolemy I, in Egypt. Purpose: unify Greek settlers and native Egyptians under one religion figure. Depiction: white and light-skinned, Greek facial features, long flowing hair, often shown with beard similar to Zeus or Hades. So you see where they constructed this idol from. That is their particular individual idol for Esau, Edom, and their worship. This is why it's so much spread across the world today, because they are in rulership. And they are portraying that idol that they worship as part of their system, or as part of showing their dominance using the idol. Everyone must worship this idol, which is what? Them. Looks exactly like them. Now you understand why these people are in our land and took up our story and tried to be like us. Now you understand. So instead of saying, you're not Israelite, do some research. At this point, this should become a knowledge to those that are sincere and willing to dig into the scriptures and dig into this truth. Bible say, study to show yourself approved. A workman need not to be ashamed, rightly, listen to the point, rightly dividing the word of truth. This is why we always apply Isaiah 8 and 20, man, come on. Because if you're not rightly dividing the word of truth, then you know it, come on. You can't go into Christianity and consume or believe that you are rightly dividing the word of truth. If this is what they have been teaching for the past hundreds of years. This right here, which we just read and broken down with simple studies. This that many of you all have in your churches. This is what you're preaching, you're serving. A common idol. All these religions, all these that stems under Christianity is serving this common idol, whether you like it or not. The moment you put yourself under these religions, Seventh-day Adventist, Pentecostal, Open Bible, Baptist, whatever type of Baptist there is that you try to change the dynamics to suit your particular African belief and all this foolishness. Under Christianity. Selassie and Rastafarian. Under Christianity. Where you feel separated. But you'll always try to buck up and come against those who bring forth the 100% truth onto you. There's a guy I was talking about, if y'all don't believe in the name Jesus and something wrong with y'all, that y'all are condemned already and that y'all are going to get judged. Mr. Man, we had to deal with you separating it. If again, as Abaniah say, you have to be biblically illiterate by. The letter J is a newly created letter. Way after Yahushua HaMashiach's death. So how could you say? Next topic. That's our next lesson. I'm gonna pause. Next topic I had to go back into. Let's continue for the edifying of those that are new and now back into this. Alright? Let's continue. Next part. how this connects to Christos. When Christianity spread into Rome, the Roman Empire, artists and converts drew on existing familiar iconography. So like, the figure of Christ is depicted with long hair, beard, face, white light skin, Greco-Roman figures. This mirrored the iconography of Serapis. Have we been lying all this time? Or is it a literal idol at this point? Do we need to continue this? Because this is clear information. And for those who know me, know there are links provided as we continue in the same lesson. And you know you don't want to go in them links, because the last time I go in them links, I get somebody on my comment board. Couldn't say anything, couldn't disprove what I said, but could only scoff of a racial term which I had to remove. Last time. So, I think I'm going to anyways, but you know me. All right. It says, this mirrors the iconography of Serapis, who was already established as a universal savior, God figure in Romanized Egypt. Now you understand where the universal salvation comes from. While it's so heavily tried to bend the scriptures to bring that understanding to us. Now you understand why it's said that way, why it's preached that way. It is known as false doctrine. It is not sound doctrine. It's following under an idol of Esau Edom, created in the third, I believe it was just right, tell me again. Created when? In the 3rd century BCE, under Ptolemy. So it's an idol. And with an idol, there are usually practices that comes with that idol and teachings that comes with that idol, like every other religion it have on the earth today. So Serapis and the universal savior, God figure in Romanized Egypt, has absolutely nothing to do with the God of Israel, which we already identify, because we establish what the ancient Israel would have looked like from the beginning of time. And we also established before what our power would have looked like also according to the descriptions of these past prophets, that many of them are here today. So could we please, this is now undeniable fact. Again, could we please stop with your foolishness about this universal salvation? Because now you know it comes from. It was never part of the scriptures. Bible didn't say all people of the earth is going to be saved, because there's punishments and judgments for disobedience and wicked behaviors and wicked rulership, like Esau Edom, who was promised to be put down, to be trampled by Yahushua and his army, which is also mentioned from the old Isaiah 63 and in the new Revelations 19, which you and me both cannot deny, which is why it's an undeniable fact. Let's continue. Essentially, Serapis Christos and precursors select template for the white Jesus. It says name similarity. Christos is Latin for anointed, but the visual model clearly borrows from Serapis. And it is impossible to have an anointed idol, because it's not living. Let me see if I get it. All right. I'm gonna try to read through this little arrow here. Many scholars, if I could, boy. I guess shows direct visual lineage between Serapis status and early European something. I see the rest. So like, yeah. Let's go to the part. Let me see. Yeah, early European depiction of Jesus. I see it on the upper part. As you can see, the upper part here, the little dark lights. I seen it. As it continues, it says, why it's important. It matters. It shows the Messiah as a Greco-Roman construct, not historical Yahushai. The figure that became popular in Europe is less about the about biblical accuracy and more about cultural familiarity and political strategy. So yes, the white long hair beard Jesus in the European art directly inherits traits from Serapis Christos, meaning it is essentially a Greco-Roman version of the Messiah, not historical Semitic figures. Is this my words, by the way? Did I make this shit up? A simple research. There's more. This is what all people would have looked like back then, being in captivity in Egypt. And notice, if all of Israel, all 70 of the Israelites from Jacob and his descendants and their descendants coming down, which we know Joseph the descendants would have already been in Egypt. So we counting the ones that came in, which would include all of them were in Egypt. And they multiply exceedingly, and the new Pharaoh, knew not the Jacob or Joseph and his brethren or his family, and decided that in order to control them, to come against them and to control them by means of oppressors and oppress them and take them into bondage or captivity. And the depiction that was shown by the scholars after they did their research and the archaeologists after they went into the sites and see it. And all you can see at that point in time was the Egyptians over the slaves, which was mentioned during their slave names, which was mentioned in the video to have what? Hebrew names, ancient Hebrew names, this not resembling, directly referring to the Israelites that were in captivity, and the imagery portrayed was they being dark like Egyptians and even darker. And again, this is not a black Hebrew Israelite. We're not teaching color skin doctrine, but the facts remain the facts where it starts from. That's all I'm showing you. I'm not saying that all dark-skinned people are Israelites, because they must come from the seed line of Jacob to be an Israelite. This is why we always say the Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, and those whose seed line go back to the children of the sons of go back to Jacob or to the children of Israel. Though they may appear like a heathen or look like one, if their genealogy or lineage trace directly back to Jacob, they are an Israelite. But this right here is referring to accurate history, with Jacob and his family going into Egypt, going into captivity, and this is what you see of the captives, which are the Israelites, right there. So we want to talk about skin color and be use race and or color as a social construct to separate who is good and who is bad and identify who to who. If you understand this right here, then you would understand what it is really going on, why they are in our land today. It makes it now easier to understand also who the real Israelites are today. Because when you look at the history, which we gotta cut off now and continue just now because it gonna be 15 minutes and I don't want to make the lesson long as it's back to basics. So until the next lesson, shalom.